His brother's keeper. I hope you don't mind. I skipped a few pages where a story of some character was explained that we literally will not see again for the rest of this comic series. So I skipped it because it was quite boring and it didn't feature any of our main characters. Alright. Imagine a story that begins like this. Once upon a time, outside of time, there is a place that is not a place. It feels so familiar and so strange that you recognize it as a dream. Then you forget it is a dream, you forget that you are in it. And now you can see two houses standing close together, divided by a graveyard. One contains mysteries, the other secrets. But which is which? In dreams, no answer is obvious. You choose the one on the right. And then you're inside a dream so old you know it couldn't possibly belong just to you. And even though the people in this dream are looking in your direction, you feel that their attention is focused on someone just behind you. He smells of the outside, of wood smoke and resin, and although he doesn't acknowledge your presence, you sense that he can see you, even if the others cannot. Oh, good. Of Force Bridge. Well, sit down. Make yourself at home. Fancy a drink? There's a choice of scotch or scotch. I'm okay. This is my second. I'm just praying I don't have to pee before our host arrives. Oh well, there's always the great outdoors. I'm Dana, by the way, and you're? Seth. You don't look like one. I thought Seths were all old farmers. Anyway, Seth, none of us knows what's going on here. The last thing I remember, I was in my flat in Highgate, fighting off a headache. Zoe here was hitching her way back to Kibbutz after a wild weekend in Eilat. Byron claims he was sitting in a Key West bar, taking notes for his novel on a cocktail napkin. The likeliest hypothesis we've come up with is that we're dead. Everything else seems too far-fetched. I don't think dead people debate their situation, Byron. Well, if we're not dead, then why doesn't the level of scotch in that bottle go down? Dana's had 3 drinks so far and I've had 2. Christ, maybe we are dead. Hey, I always feel like I'm dead when I'm waiting. Ever wonder why you can't see a doctor right away, even with an appointment? It's a power thing. They like reminding you who's high priest of the great mystery and who's just another warm body. That's what's happening here. So, do you know where we are? Yeah, kind of. At least I think I do. It looks so different. Either I've mixed things up in my head or else... I think it was over here. Bingo. Where does that lead? To the attic. More to the point, why has it been sealed? I realize it's an abuse of a museum quality piece, but I do so want to wipe that smug smile off your face. And now I think it's time you explained a few things. What do you want to know? Byron, put that down! Tilly tells us what's going on here. I think it's kind of obvious. You're here because you're in need of an explanation. Otherwise, heavy women dead of unexplained illness, American tourist vanished into thin air, local author combusted just before sunset. You're here because you managed to slip through the net, and no one can slip a neat footnote on your story. And what about you, Seth? Are you another mystery or are you a detective? Welcome, dear guests, welcome. Forgive the delay, but I had to make sure that all was in readiness. Now I am delighted to invite you inside my humble abode. I have prepared some particularly charming suits for the ladies, so if you'll all just follow me. Impressive, isn't it? Please feel free to explore. There are no secrets here. Examine the fruit basket where Cleopatra kept her asp. Marvel at the fine engravings on Arthur's fabled sword. Taste a bit of manna in that platter over there, for my home is your home, and you. You dare set foot in? Why shouldn't I come see you, Cain? We may not be close after all, but we are brothers. 2 more guests arrive in time for dinner. The first, a tall, thin gentleman, says, in a 1940s BBC accent, that his name is Lucien. The second, a fat man in a fez, spots Seth in a corner and gasps as if he'd seen a ghost. He then consoles himself with a large plate of olives and cheese. I don't get it, Lucien. If he hates his brother, then why invite him to stay for dinner? If hostility kept families from eating together, the whole world would starve. Actually, Cain is following an old custom. Once you cross a person's threshold, you are considered a guest, and as such must be fed and sheltered, and in no wise harmed. Seth, what? Yes. What does bring you here, Seth? Need a spare kidney, or simply overcome by nostalgia? Oh, I was just curious about we haven't been close, really. You were so much younger than I mean, you were born after. I believe Abel was asking the question, Cain. What was it, Abel? Yeah. Don't I know it? Ever since I was a kid, I felt like I've come in on the middle of the movie. It's like I'm trying to figure out who I am, but part of the puzzle's missing. I've been lonely, being the youngest. I never really felt like I had brothers. I thought it was time for me to get to know you. Learn the family secrets. Sift. Jack. Bullshit. Listen here, you little brown knows nothing of a brat. You know damn well who you are. You're the one who got it all. I'm the murderer, Abel's the victim. And you're Adam and Eve's baby boy, son of and heir to inherit the earth. As for family secrets, how many do you think we have? I killed my brother. Nothing secret about that. Isn't that right, Abel? Well, to be honest, not killed Cain. Murdered. And if there aren't any secrets, then let's just talk about why you murdered him, all right, brother? Look it up, kid. It's in a book. Oh, I've read that, Cain. I mean the real reason. I know what you want, Seth. You want a story. Family story about a family secret. But I don't tell secrets, do I? I tell mysteries. Not the kind you buy in paperback either. The old kind. The kind that involve ritual and blood. So if you want to learn about mystery, by all means, all you have to do is follow me outside in the garden. Coming? That's where all the secrets are buried? So is anyone ever going to actually tell us what's going on? Of course not. We're minor characters, Zoe. Subplot. We're just supposed to wait till that cheap Vincent Price imitator gets around to telling us we're dead. Well, I won't have it. I may have been a third-rate crime novelist, but even I can write myself better endings than this. Anyone coming with? No? Suit yourselves. But I can tell you right now it's always a mistake to stay for dinner when your hosts are having family problems. You always wind up finding out more than it's healthy to know. My goodness, he just left. Without hearing a story. Without finding out. I don't think any of Cain's guests has ever done that before. I hope you will all forgive me, but there's something I must check back at the library. Doesn't anyone want to stay for the main course? Good. It's raining. Now, the first thing you should understand, little brother, is that gardening takes skill. You don't just throw in a seed in the dirt and leave it. Can you hear me back there? Yes. Herding is easy. Dogs can do it. It's one step away from what wolves do naturally. Follow the sheep and keep your eye on the weak ones. Herding keeps you on the move. You go where the grass is, you go where there's fresh water, like an animal. Agriculture is all about power. You shape the land to suit your needs. But there's another important difference between the two oldest professions. So the oldest profession was... It has to do with religion. You see, herders are nomads. They like to think of a god that wanders as they wander, watching over them as they watch over their flocks. Makes for good monotheism, herding does. Agriculturists are pagan by nature. There it is, the mandrake. Did you hear anything? Nope. It said to scream when you uproot it. Abel heard it once. He followed me up the hill in the pitch black on his fat little legs, calling, Cain, Cain, and I never once looked back or helped him. And I said, promise not to tell mother or father, and he said, promise. And I said, dare you take a bite? And he said, poisonous. And I said, not poisonous, powerful. And he ate it. And I told him a secret about planning and what happens in the earth. A secret about dying and what happens in the grave. You came here for revelations. What do you imagine it might tell you? Excuse me, but don't you think your brother should have come back by now? Should they? Ask him how many peas are on his plate. I bet he'd know the answer to that. Well, I just have to go get him then, right after I finish this dish. Abel, I think there's something you should see. Eve? Now, Abel. Matthew? Not a clue, so don't waste your breath. Do you see it? Do you see it? So, what we're looking at, Eve? Oh, God. What is it? I don't believe it, but there's a necklace. So, after all these years, she still exists. Feeling better, Seth? Not really, I see. Perhaps you're allergic to mandrake root, oh well. Then again, you might be dying. Maybe I've killed you. That's a mystery, isn't it? Why family members murder each other? Don't you wonder what Adam thought when he saw his wife deliver a little scrap of squalling flesh? For all he knew, it was a noisy tumor or a demon or something. And what about my mother? Did she consider murder as I went through the terrible twos? Is that why she named her second son Abel for grief? Why don't more mothers kill their kids? You see, Seth, it's just as Mr. Fruit suspected. Fratricide and incest are part of every family's makeup. Cain, have you murdered this brother too? No, he's just eaten something that's disagreed with him. Cain, she's gone. Who's gone, you nitwit? Jamila? Jamila? Of course she's gone. She left years ago, the fat cow. No, Cain. You said she'd gone, but instead you locked her away. You're a hallucinating old woman. Am I? Seth moved the bookcase. What? What? You what? I told you, Cain. I came to find out your mystery. To find out why you hated Abel so much you killed him. Because of what you did, I was born. Replacement son. So I think I deserve to know. You deserve? You deserve this embalmment! Shut up, Cain. How could you have kept her locked up there? I thought she had left with a climber. If I'd suspected for one instant.
Who are you talking about, Eve? Who's a climber? Who's been locked away?
The mad woman in the attic. Cain's wife. I'm not so fat anymore, am I, beloved? All I eat are little things, and I must be very quick to catch them. Gregory has gotten slow, hasn't he? Slow and fat. I'll bet he eats all kinds of lovely things from your table. Steak and roasted potatoes with rosemary, fresh baked bread. Do you think if I cut him open I will see a leg of lamb?
No, Jamel, let's not harm Gregory.
Do you know the house? Hates you, Cain? It tells me so. You don't know what it's like having someone you hate inside you, moving around inside you.
Let Gregory go, Jamela. This has nothing to do with him, does it?
Ugh. Oh, I didn't mean to. Abel, he's bleeding. Oh, Mel.
I don't get it. Cain's got a wife and Abel's hugging her?
It's a secret, isn't it? The family secret? Yes. Cain and Abel were each born with twin sisters, it said, though the girls' names were never mentioned in the Bible. When the boys grew up, Cain was meant to marry Abel's twin and Abel to marry Cain's, but Cain preferred his own twin, a climber. The matter was put in God's hands. Each brother made a sacrifice, the elder of the fruit of the ground, and the younger man from the choice of his flock.
So Cain killed Abel over a girl? Over his sister? Isn't that incest?
It's an old story, Matthew.
A very old story, but while you were telling it, Gregory is dying. I hope you're enjoying this, you stupid bitch, because you will suffer for this night's work.
Cain, she didn't mean to. Give him to me.
Will you?
Quickly. You never ate the mandrake yourself, did you, Cain?
Of course I did. Why?
Because then you would know what to do.
What the hell was that?
The mandrake can feel pain.
Can it feel Gregory's pain?
It can take Gregory's pain. It can heal him too, if you don't mind it screaming your insides out. You see, mandrake never really gets digested, does it, Abel? Which is why most people never call on its power.
Gregory, you're right, you great green monster. Why do you think Abel would have let you bleed to death rather than risk a little pain?
It's not that simple, Cain, or that easy. Why did you tell me she passed on, Cain?
She gone insane, Abel. She wasn't a sister, you remembered. She'd sat naked on the roof and cut herself. She smeared waste matter on the walls of the red room. I thought it kinda to keep her, then send her away.
Liar! I wasn't insane. I was hurting. When women feel too much pain, men always say they're acting crazy. But how would you like it, knowing you were so horrible and fat that a man would kill rather than have you? Melai, and you wanted her too. I saw you with her nightgown stuffing it under your pillow where you could smell it every night. You have to be desirable to make it into the book. You have to be pretty enough to work 7 years for, or else history forgets you. Men must be holy, you see, but women should have more earthy appeal, like Sarah and Rachel, like Rebecca and Ruth and Isa. The Bible says it beauties all. Leah was plain, of course, but she had to hide her ugly face under a heavy veil to fool her sister's man into fucking her. Does that shock you? But I bet you want to fuck my sister. Men always do. They want to rescue a climber, and then they want their reward. Does she need rescuing? Of course she does. And while you carry her to safety, she'll sink her claws right into you, and by the time you feel it, you'll be scarred. But what does she need rescuing from? Is she in danger? Just shut up about her. Now, if you don't mind, I want to go back to my house.
It's not your house, you demanded Trollop. Feel free to remain up in your dingy attic, but venture downstairs and I'll make you sorry you were ever born.
I'm not afraid of you anymore, Kane, and I'll come down whenever I want to. Whenever I want to. I think it's time we left, Matthew.
Do we have to? I want to see this out the end.
You're all old enough to make your own mistakes, but I am too old to watch you make them. Jamila said her sister needed rescuing. What happened to her climber? Where is she now?
Where no man will lay his greasy, sweaty paws on her, least of all you cringing pup.
Who are you protecting, Kane? Your sister or yourself? But I forgot. You're already protected with God's mark. No one can harm you, can they? Or at least no one in their right mind would try. And while you ponder that, ponder this. I'm going to find a climber, Kane, whether you help me or not.
Good luck then, baby brother. You're going to need it when you meet my twin. Godspeed him if he can help you, my sister, for God knows that I cannot.
So, what now?
Did I ever tell you why there's always a raven in Eve's cave? It's because a raven taught Eve how to bury me after I was murdered. Murdered that first time, I mean. You see, ravens always bury their dead and...
Abel, haven't I told you not to just offer up secrets? Haven't I? You just won't learn, will you? Now I have to see about my guests.
So, is this one a guest or what?
You have to go back to the house now. Suddenly, the dream shifts focus, as dreams sometimes do. You hover somewhere above the action as Kane apologizes to Dana and Zoe. No one apologizes to you. The dream is ending without resolving all its mysteries, and you feel a little cheated. What happened to Byron? Where did Seth go? But some stories end in the middle, without resolution. A young girl named Zoe Levine disappears on a road to Eilat, leaving behind a book of poems, a pair of sandals, a Hebrew dictionary, and a Martin guitar, which are sent back to grieving parents in upstate New York. A wry 45-year-old accountant named Dana Cleveland dies as the first new buds of April appear, and the autopsy reveals no apparent cause. In his library, Lucien notices that Dana wrote 3 well-received mystery novels under the pen name of Byron Manning. Mystery and secrets, the closest of siblings, you begin walking toward the house on the left.